Welcome to another episode of the PLA podcast. We have an incredible guest here, which I'm so excited and blessed and humbled and privileged to interview today. Pradipta Sarkar, welcome to the PLA podcast. It's so lovely to have you on here.
Thank you, Dunya. So nice to connect with you again. I'm really excited.
A true pleasure. I'm going to introduce you to our audience because they don't know you as well as we've had the absolute privilege of getting to know you. So I really wanted to run through your story, your history, your experience. So today we have Pradipta Sarkar, born and raised in Kolkata, the city of joy, in a middle class family where education was a core value. Childhood marked by curiosity, love for reading, and independence, moving from Bengali medium to English medium studies to expand opportunities. Graduated in electronics, telecommunications engineering in Kolkata, then moved to Bangalore to begin his IT career, an experience that built resilience and adaptability. Just 6 months into his career, traveled to the US for his first client assignment, a transformative step that shaped both personal and professional growth, bringing 25 plus years of experience in R&D and product development spanning enterprise servers, storage, networking and infrastructures, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and generative AI. Currently serves as a senior engineering program manager at HPE, leading customer solution programs for high performance computing and AI servers, drives programs contributing to hundreds of millions in revenue, thriving at the intersection of technology, process, and people leadership. Passionate about creating meaningful impact through innovation, collaboration, and continuous learning. Pradipta, it's so lovely to have you on here with us. Welcome once again to the PLA podcast.
Thank you, Dunya, for the kind introduction.
It's incredible to be able to read your story and getting to know you over the last few months and then getting to formally read your introduction is such a treat. I would love to take you back to the very, very beginning of your career and have you share it in some ways with the audience. How were you at the very start and where did it all begin really?
Yeah, career. So I joined in Bangalore, like after I completed my engineering from Jadavpur University in Electronics and Telecommunication. It's a premier institute in Calcutta. And after that, I moved to Bangalore for IT opportunities. I worked there for 6 months, and my client was Compaq. Compaq was that time a very fast growing company, which is focused more on laptop and enterprise server. So I started on in their enterprise server products division and developing different types of farmer and management applications, and I was also communicating with the offshore team and leading the QA teams here. So I continued in multiple projects, and like as I gained more experience, and then I moved to program management role. I also completed a PMI certification so that I have the right tools required, and then I continued my journey. So over the years, I mean, I worked on like so many different technologies. So I feel very humbled and honored to get all these opportunities. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Pradipta, I'd be curious to know if you were to go back in time at the very beginning in Bangalore and moving, I would be so curious to know, knowing everything that you know now, all of these certifications, all of this evolution through your career, your experience, what was one piece of advice you wish you knew at the beginning of your career, knowing everything that you know now?
Yeah, yeah. I'll say it's not just one aspect. There are multiple, but yeah, I'll start. So like going back when I started as a newbie, right? So my job role was very clear. So my role was to do things really well and make myself indispensable. But like going back, I see that market has been evolving so fast, right? So I'll also advise to keep a very close eye on the industry, what is happening on the related technologies, and keep yourself up to date as per the market, because I mean we have seen with the recently the rapid evolution of technology. Things are growing very fast, right? So unless you keep up with the market, things can change any moment, right? So yeah, that is one aspect. And another thing is I would also like to advise that keep yourself honest and humble. So always try to solve both the people aspect as well as the technology aspect, because you don't want to lose yourself in the process. So as you know, we spend more time in office than we spend time with our family, right? So it's important that we be original and also humble. Otherwise, it will create a lot of friction in your life, and you don't know when to waste your energy in that. And third thing is also invest in yourself, grow in your area, both technically and also personally, and keep a close eye on your health also, because health is important, especially post COVID time. We have seen it was very difficult for all of us, right? We have also seen some losses in our family or colleague, right? So it was very tough time. But if you take care of your health, you will have a much better chance, and don't take this life for granted, you know so if you have a friend which you have not met in a long time, or someone you want to connect, don't waste time. I mean, just do it. Otherwise, I mean, who knows what may happen, right? So yeah, that's all I'll say.
Incredible. So many pieces of advice that are so helpful at all phases of our career, truly. I love this continuous learning, being humble and honest, being able to balance what's happening at home and at the office, because you're right, so much of our time is being spent really at
Right.
the office while our family is craving that quality time. I love the continuous learning, that dedication, and
Right.
enjoying what we have as life, and the the fullness of all that it is. I
Yes.
know that I know that family has been so important to you through this journey and through everything that I know of you. I'd love to hear about, how they keep inspiring you today. I know they play a very, very big role in your life.
Yes, yes. My wife has been very supportive and also inspiration, and also she's one of my very fierce critic. But during even tough times, she have been very supportive. And my wife also, so at the same time, my wife also has been able to transform her career. So after she came to US first time, like she didn't have a work visa, right? I was on H1B and she was H4. We tried few things, did not work out. But eventually, like later when we moved back to Bangalore, she studied masters in cybersecurity, and then she was able to get a job in Bangalore. And then after a few months, once we got our green card, right, and came back to US, her company was able to transfer her to US, and she's continuing her job in there. And she also within a like very short period of time, she got multiple promotions, and now she's kind of trying to catch up with me, right? So we always have a healthy competition. Let's see, I mean, who can do what. And yeah, we try to inspire both each other, and we have very good support system. And the same for my son also. My son also have been very independent, taking care of his own studies and assignments, and also learning coding. And he's also very good at painting. So one day I'll show you some of his painting. He's really good. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm sure so many of us, like I would love to see, and so many people listening to the recording of this would love to see his work. And it's so inspiring to hear you talk about your family. And I love that playful, healthy competition between you and your wife. I think there's so much joy when we see a couple come together in unity and to really encourage one another to push and strive for more. It's truly inspiring and so touching to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'd be really curious, Pradipta. Your career has evolved so much, and even your wife's career has evolved so much in the last few years, especially with all this change and your dedication. And being in the PLA community, you've put so much into your personal growth and your own evolution. I would be really curious to know if you were to describe the last 2 years of your career, how would you describe it to us?
Yeah. So yeah, I also take back that yeah, a couple of years back I joined PLA, and I remembered Venkat telling me that this is going to be best year of your life, and same thing happened. And next afterwards, right? I started PLA journey with a lot of work, and also like we had like daily challenge, monthly 100 miles challenge, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of things. But that kind of gave me the flexibility and also structure that we have to always be ready, always take action before I am ready, right? So I embrace that, and also it gave me the network and also the support system. So we always within PLA family, we always learn from each other, we always inspire from each other, and we always take things to the next level, right? So it helped me, to even like in my job when I was searching for a different job opportunities, right? So and also the communication tips I received from Venkat and the Venkat and Bamsi and also Brendan, right? So because of that, I'm able to, crack the interviews very easily.
Incredible. I love that piece of flexibility and structure. And it's actually something that no one else has mentioned on the podcast yet. So I think there's a lot of value there of finding places or even encouraging ourselves in our own careers or our own life, really. Where is there structure that serves us and where do we need a little bit more flexibility? Because it really is at the intersection of both of those energies that we find that blissful state, that most effective way of working, that most effective place. And even that network and proximity, like you mentioned, and taking action before we're ready. There's so much value there that you've implemented. And that is something that Pradipta, I really wanted to share and highlight is if it wasn't for you committed to doing this work, there's no way you can be presented the most amount of value possible, a great resource. But if you're not willing to take it and run with it, you're not going to get the actual value of what's being presented. And you've gone above and beyond. And this is why we are on the PLA podcast today.
Right. Yes, you can have the best teaching, but unless you take action, right, it will never show. Like unless you practice this day by day, your muscle memory, your like every cell in your body, it should be aligned. So I think that's what we are trying to do.
Incredible. And Pradipta, I would love to also touch on, because all of us know, especially us striving for more, and everyone is going to relate to the statement, this little piece that I'm about to share, the journey isn't easy, right? Our career, especially when we want more in life, like we are willing to face these incredible challenges, and some parts are very, very difficult. And this is not to paint a perfect picture to anybody listening to this podcast. I would love to hear, what were the biggest challenges and lessons of your own career? And you were thinking, those were the most difficult times or the most difficult aspects that I had to myself grow through. I'd be curious.
Yeah, I'd also say that, we should not think that our life should be easy, because I mean that is not the purpose of life. Our life is like a test. It's like a puzzle. There are a lot of unknown things, right? But the joy is how do you find and move to the next problem. So looking back at my career, right? I mean, yeah, some of the years have been very tough. I had like very difficult clients, very difficult stakeholders to handle, right? But one thing I realized is I was also, very closely involved with all my team members. And when you have that close bonding, when everyone is aligned with your vision and purpose, and when the team is together, there is no problem we cannot solve. I mean, that's the, I think, biggest learning in my career. That when you have a team which you can really depend on and count on, and they're aligned with yourself and the company vision, so no matter how difficult the situation, we'll overcome it together. Yeah, that's my yes.
Incredible. And I hope everyone listening is really taking note of that, because like you said, the challenges are inevitable. We are going to
Right,
face challenges, and it's actually not about the challenge. It's about coming together as a team, because no challenge is too great for a team that's united.
right. Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I'd be curious, Pradipta, what are certain things that you would recommend to people to help them unite their teams? Like, what are certain aspects that have helped you keep a united team throughout these difficult times?
Right. Yeah. So like when you have a team, right, people come from all different background, right, different skill sets. But at the end, when they are in the team, right, so like we usually like start our day with early like daily scrum meeting. So where we discuss like who is doing what and what is the task for the whole day and what challenges they are facing, right. So at that point, we try to understand and help each other. And also not only that, so there are a lot of meetings we attend together, and also we go for lunch together. We have a lot of activities which we do to do the team building. Not only that, during festivals we come together and celebrate. So a lot of joys we share together, so that helps us to bond. And we also like know each other's family very well. We sometimes meet outside the work, so that it helps you to know them personally as well as both professionally, right. So that helps you when the tough time comes, right. They know your perspective, they know where you're coming from, and you also know where they're coming from, right. So I mean, no matter what the situation is, and I'm still like able to keep in touch with most people I have worked with very closely through LinkedIn and so many other different ways. Even after like I changed my jobs, so many people reach out to me when they are looking for opportunities, they're looking for advice, right. So I'm grateful that I'm still able to help them in any way I can.
Absolutely. And there's so much there. Part of it is the frequency, meeting regularly, like keeping up to date, so important, that communication piece, like staying on the same page. How can we communicate? also those moments of like team bonding, like you mentioned. It's like activities that don't actually necessarily have to do with the work, but are actually going to help the work in terms of team cohesion. So important. And I love the piece around celebration and things is like, can we allow ourselves to even connect in things that have nothing to do with work, really, that have to do even with our personal lives, celebrate together, holidays, etc. So important, so good.
Yes. Yeah, as I mentioned, we spend a lot of time at work, right? So it makes sense, to know them very closely, and then align together. So
Yeah, and you're right. I think part of it is in some ways we have our family at home and we have our family at the office, and some people may not see that way. So I just want to honor those people that have a slightly different definition of how they see their teams at work. But I love that piece of at the end of the day, it is a community that we are part of, and we are either contributing to this community and the health of that community and culture, or we are in some ways a very passive individual of just coming in, getting it done, and getting out. But there's a lot more value on the table if we allow ourselves to invest in those relationships that we spend so much time with and are getting so much done with.
yeah, at the end, like we are actually more similar than we have differences, right? So as long we find the common ground, it's always easy to connect.
It's so true. Oh, I love this. I think there's a big piece there that someone hasn't mentioned before is that piece around if we allow ourselves to invest in those relationships, we realize the similarities amongst all of us, which will probably help when it's time when we're facing a difficult task or there are, more challenging conversations to have that will arise with challenges at the office and the projects that we're dealing with.
Yeah, correct.
I'm curious, Pradipta. There's a lot of change right now happening in all industries, really, and the world is changing and technology is evolving at an incredibly rapid rate. With now the introduction of AI, I'd love to get your take, your perspective, your application, and your feedback on where you think this is going and what's happening.
Yeah, as you know, AI is already there, right? So we have been integrating in so many different projects, both personal aspect as well as in the enterprise level, right? So AI is like a lot of like mundane routine tasks. It can help you to automate, be it writing the email, be it summarizing, be it taking notes, be it say making some travel plan itinerary, making your the food routine, like what food you want to eat, right? Your meal preparation or your health, like how do you want to work out, all those things. It can help tremendously, and so I don't think that there is right now there is any option to that you can ignore AI, because it's kind of like almost everywhere, right? But I will also add a bit of caution, because tools like AI, when it's coming, right, with great power comes great responsibility, and AI can take the level of like the hacking, the fraud. It can take to a whole different level. So I don't know, like if you may have heard about vibe coding, right, where you can use some just English language without any knowledge of coding, right, to deploy the production grade application and deploy them. But even the hackers, they have been using it. There is something is called vibe hacking. So using some of the sophisticated AI models, they are able to deploy the malware or the ransomware, and then sell them in the dark web, and then get money from the customers, right? So there are lot of safety nets we have to put in place. So if you're going back like even like 10, 15 years back, the online transfer, it was not that prevalent, right? Most of us were using cash or check or credit card. Now with the transaction of money, lot of fraud has been happening, right? You hear the news, right? Many old, especially older people, they have their entire life saving is lost because they clicked on some link or scan some QR code. So we have to make sure that all those safety nets are placed, because the power of AI. So as the good people have access to it, so is the bad people. How do I stop the bad actors from utilizing them? How do you use them, the bad nations to use it for destructive purposes? So those things also important, and I think it is our responsibility to make sure that it is safe for our next generation. So as we want to leave this earth as in a better place, right, for our next generation, same applies to the digital universe also. We want to make sure that we live a better digital universe for our next generation. So yeah.
I love this. It's interesting. No one has shared this on the podcast of that piece around AI and cybersecurity and, the risk of fraud. It is true that with you, like, I love that quote. I will forever love that quote. With great power comes great responsibility, and it has been a phenomenal tool, and at the same time can be used for good or for bad. And I love that piece of those that are slightly more vulnerable, that to keep an eye out for them. Whether it's the past generations or our parents that are not as tech savvy or are a little bit more naive, not inexperienced, but simply they're just not up to date on cybersecurity or certain things to watch out for. And then the younger generation that may just not have the experience and may not know exactly what to look out for. I'd be curious if you have any suggestions for anyone who have young children that are starting to use their laptops or the tablets or the phones, or someone who has older parents that they may be a little bit concerned about the rise of AI and that piece around cybersecurity.
Yeah. Few things I'll recommend. One is having a password which is at least like 12 digit, including strong password. Enable multi-factor authentication. Keep your operating system up to date. Make sure all the patches are applied. Make sure you don't browse to the sites which you don't know. Don't click on any attachment from unless it is from trusted source. Don't talk to unknown people on internet because you know who it is, right? You can never be sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that that questioning the source is always important. You can never take anything for granted, especially in the digital world. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
I love it. It's almost like talking, don't talk to strangers in the 21st century is now the digital version.
Right.
That's amazing. Well, there's so much as we're keeping an eye out and we're being careful and cautious and just questioning in some ways, the power of AI and for good or for bad, right? I'm curious to know. There's a lot of change happening, and what are you excited about for the future? Like, there's so much still coming, and I would love to get your perspective, personal or professional. What are things you're still looking forward to, maybe in terms of even legacy and impact that you would like to leave?
Yes. So as AI becomes more prevalent, right? So a lot of small tasks that will be taken care by AI. So we have to move to the next level, right? We have to spread ourselves. So for example, like if we focus, right now we're focusing too much on technology implementation, all those things, right? But at a higher level, so we have to bring that founder's mindset or the CEO mindset, right? How can I manage the finance? How can I make sure that I'm getting the right ROI on my AI investment? How can I make sure that the emerging technologies are also I am keeping an eye? For example, quantum computing, right? Quantum computing can pose a bigger risk on cybersecurity as well as the cryptocurrency, those things, right? So how to implement the post quantum cryptography and make sure all the hardware, all the server, all the storage equipments they are ready for the post quantum era, because there has also been news that the hackers they have been harvesting encrypted data so that when the quantum computing is available they can encrypt and steal your information, right? So you have to make sure the in the future forward also direction we pay close attention. Yeah.
Absolutely. So just being a little bit more cautious and aware of all these things that as they're coming up. I am curious, we've mentioned PLA, we've mentioned the incredible PLA journey that you've had. I'd love to know what originally drew you to PLA as a community. What was what drew you to even take a look at it?
Yeah. So like as I have walked different aspects and also different people, I always felt that something is missing. I'm not getting the bigger picture, and also especially at the C-suite level or the top executive level, what is it that they have that I don't have, or what is it that I don't know? So how can I belong to the same league? Because I know I want to be there, but how? So I never had that formal process or the steps or the framework, but because of PLA, so I know that. So that's the reason I joined PLA. Yeah, and Vamsi, Venkat, and Brenton, they have been very helpful. With any question I have, and they are ready to answer.
Incredible, Pradipta. I think that that's such a good way of seeing it is like, what is this next level of my career and possibility have that I haven't yet taken a look at? And how can I allow myself to go seeking for it to open up these new opportunities for me? And I think if a lot more people thought that way, these next levels of their life and career would, open themselves up to them with a little bit more ease rather than being frustrated of like, why haven't I gotten this promotion or where are these opportunities? If we start to ask ourselves, wait a minute, what is that one piece that I may be missing and where can I find it? A lot more would start to happen.
Yes, as you know that the change is inevitable, right? Either you make the change or someone else can make change for you, right? So it's always better that I keep a close eye and then align myself with that, right? So that makes it, more enjoyable.
Incredible. And my last question for you today is what has been the most exciting part of PLA that you have been surprised to get? I'd be really curious.
I'll say again, it's the family and the close bonding aspect of it. We have such a very close bonding among all the PLF family members, and everyone able to give their input and also without any judgment, without any comments, and it's like unconditional support that they have been providing me, right? And when I met Brendan, Vamsi, and Venkat personally, right, it again reinforced my belief that they are able to do it because they believe it. Every cell in your body believes in it. So that's the reason it's a mission. Yeah.
Absolutely. Pradipta, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the PLA community. I will put a QR code for anybody who is curious about PLA and just wants to find out a little bit more. This is the next free training. There is a ton of value. As someone who's gone to so many of them over and over again, there's a ton of value provided in this. It'll give you a little bit more information on what the community is about and what happens within PLA. So feel free to scan this QR code and find out when the next free training is. And it gives, guests a little bit more of an information, not to leave them hanging. Pradipta, it's been an absolute privilege having you on the PLA podcast today, and it has been extremely informative in so many ways. And one of my biggest takeaways is how much you have, in some ways, prioritized the importance of team and the people you work with to be able to achieve those next levels that are at times so challenging and we think are impossible, but with the right team and the right effort and being on the same page, anything is possible. So thank you so much for everything you've provided today on the PLA podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dunya. Yeah, I want to reiterate that invest in yourself, invest in your team, and it will pay off for sure. Yeah.
Oh, so good. Such good ending words of wisdom. Thank you so much. And to everyone listening, we will catch you all for another PLA podcast. Thank you for joining today again.
Thank you so much, Dunya.